birthday, Sir TRRS Sankara.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Nice sandwich. Also, I didn't say it on your birthday, but happy birthday, Rob.
Hello. Hello. Check 2. Increasingly Phil. Thank you for the 20 months of Tier 1 and the very kind birthday message. Thank you, Phil. Thank you also, Curse Sam Cider, for 25 months of Tier 1. Thank you as well for saying happy birthday. I appreciate that, Sam Cider. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And again, it is my birthday. In case anyone was not, in case there was some confusion about this. In case there was some confusion about this, it is indeed my birthday. So just keep that in mind. I got this sandwich. It's quite a good sandwich. I got it from this little Italian, like there's this Italian grocery that I haven't really checked out that's very near me, that I went to earlier. I was asking where you can get fresh mozzarella. I didn't even know where to get some. Turns out there's a place about 5 minutes away from here. I got some fresh mozzarella. I got this sandwich, which is like sausage and roasted peppers. Quite yummy. We're on to Red Scary birthday. It can be both of our birthdays. Okay, it's Gemini season. Oh, Scanners is tonight. I will try to attend. I have some parenting stuff to do tonight, but should be okay. There's also the NBA Finals, I believe. I'm gonna put myself down at about a 50% for that one. We're the same age, Phil? Oh my goodness. Outlook not good. I don't know. I do want to watch it. But I'm deeply invested in the NBA Finals. I've been watching this for 2 months now, or whatever it is. I think the Nuggets will definitely win at least one in Miami. I mean, I think that's my main thing from watching the first couple of games. They're definitely the better team. It's just a question of whether they can figure it out, you know? And Miami's really good. Obviously, they can steal a game at any time. Denver has one of the best players in the world right now. I think just overall they're just better. So it's just really a matter of time whether they can fix the mistakes, make the adjustments that they need to do. I think they'll probably win tonight, but if not, I'm sure they'll take one in Miami.
Some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Jimmy Buckets does love that fourth quarter. That's true. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry, for the raid. I appreciate that. How's your stream going? Don't mind me. Don't mind me, just having a little lunch here. It's not smoked salmon. It's sausage. Sausage and roasted peppers and house mayo. The Cornell West interview on Democracy Now! Is pretty frustrating. What's frustrating about it? I didn't see it. The way he was acting on Russell Brand was wild. Do we need to watch this? Do we need to watch this? Did the People's Party ever actually put up a candidate anywhere? No, they didn't. Excuse me. This has been like my whole thing over the last couple of days. I love Cornel West. He's a really powerful voice for progressive ideas and social and racial justice, the environment, anti-war. I think that's an important voice to have as part of this process. It's associating with this kind of scammy, grifty People's Party business. And oh, I did see the tweet from 2011 about Brother Ronald Reagan. I did see that. Yeah, that's great shit. That's great stuff. Like all successful political parties, PB's going straight to the presidency first. That's right. He's got good analysis mixed in with throwing China under the bus and some other questionable takes on geopolitical issues. He seems to be willing to debase himself to build class consciousness by any means necessary. I don't think it'll work. That sounds pretty depressing. That sounds pretty darn depressing. Maybe I should get him on this show and see if I can press him on supporting the People's Republic of China, which he should be doing. Obviously. Yeah, you're probably right, Ben. Support his good ideas, call it the bad ones. His good points are still positive and progressive. Yeah, and like I said, I think it's like important to have other voices in there as part of this process. Part of this process of like, rather than just anointing Joe Biden and just saying like, no, everyone, having anyone else involved in this just helps the other guys. I think it's good actually to have, especially someone like Cornel West, their kind of very powerful progressive ideas, getting them out there and part of that process. West once called the Rachel Notley's government a Marxist government way back in 2015. Come on, Cornell. Come on, sir. I remember I really liked when he went on Rogan. Oh. Oh, that's good. That's very good. Rogan make anyone seem like a genius. Yeah, that's very true. It's just funny that Rogan has someone like Cornel West come on, or Bernie Sanders even, and gives them this platform to espouse some like pretty progressive ideas. And then Joe is just like, oh, wow. And this nothing absorbs. Nothing absorbs in his brain. He just moves right back to doing what he was doing before. Like the whole thing with the Yeonmi Park, remember? And then I eat the rat, and then the rat eats the dog, and then there's children with their intestines hanging out. Rogan's like, wow. Wow. Only the reactionary shit seems to stick to Rogan. That's true. Yeah. Very true. Excuse me. The only problem is that he's trying to take the position that will appeal to chuds on material issues while still painting almost any state as evil. That's not good. That is not good. Maybe we should watch some of this stuff today. I don't know. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the wildfires. Let me just see one thing as well. I'm just trying to fix my sub goal here. I wonder if now the counter is going to work again. I don't know. Really burying the lead about Red Scary's birthday. Well, if Red Scary shows up, as she did yesterday, maybe we can work with that. Maybe we can have something to say about that. The whole East Coast is smoky except where I live. I'm further south. You know, funnily enough, like Montreal has been pretty smoky the last couple of days. Definitely yesterday morning as well. I said I could smell it a lot, but it kind of cleared up a little bit. And when you look at maps, you see the smoke just kind of like missing Montreal. It's going from the forests hovering over Ottawa, like the worst, most low air quality over Ottawa, then drifting down to New York City. So all of New York City is like covered in wood smoke. Montreal's not that bad right now, though. I'm not going to start doing an end zone dance about it. I'm sure it's going to get bad again. But right now, it's kind of missing Montreal. It's getting everybody else. Somehow, randomly, despite me being in Quebec, it seems like people in New York City are getting it worse than I am. Oh. Got a thick haze down in Baltimore. Yeah, it's not... Like, right now it's overcast. It's cloudy. I'm not getting any... Oh, there is an air quality warning. Okay, yeah, it is. According to the map, it's actually extremely bad right now. Maybe that's changed since I got inside. So... Never mind. Never mind then. I've got to make it so fucking when I get these news alerts, I don't open it up in Microsoft Edge. Don't breathe the air, you'll become dependent on it. There we go. There's me right now. Seems not ideal. I'm in the extreme. I'm right in the middle of the extreme zone right now. Is that bad? It's not like the extreme zone, like, oh, look, I'm so extreme. This is so cool. It's like extreme as in extreme, low, extremely low air quality. It looks like a Hollywood Vision in Mexico right now. I guess maybe I'm having a hard time because, like, right now it's cloudy and kind of rainy as well, so it's kind of hard. Everything's all mixing together. No, it doesn't. I don't see the Mexico filter right now. I don't know. Or yeah, when Homeland goes to the Middle East. Yeah, the rain seems to be affecting the hovering of the particulates and that kind of stuff. Live from the extreme zone. There we go. Good. Maybe not quite as extreme as some others. There are certainly more, maybe not in terms of wildfire smoke, but in terms of other factors, there are more extreme zones than this right now. We got to hit net zero by 2050. Well, that's what I was joking about on Twitter today. Like, it's just when we think about the scope of this problem and think about what we're proposing, what our big radical solutions are that we're proposing, carbon taxes and electric vehicle tax credits, all this complete bullshit that we've spent the last 10 years debating and barely even implementing. We still have right-wing freaks in this country and other countries just freaking out over this basic idea of, like, doing something at all, doing anything at all. At least we got the Ford government reminding people that we get fires every year. Well, that's true. We do get fires every year, but we were significantly had more wildfires in by June 7th than we get in through the entirety of the season in previous years, that's probably an indication, in my opinion. I'm not a climate scientist, but that's probably an indication that there is something maybe more going on than just the average wildfire season. When are the 2 billion trees being planted? I know. And you know what? It's frustrating as well because, like, if we had actually acted in, like, the late 70s or early 80s, on that, like, if we had implemented, like, a carbon tax, or we had transitioned to electric vehicles then, we would, by now, 50 years later, we would be doing okay. We would be in way better shape. I think that's the frustrating thing, is that we're debating climate policies now that should have been implemented 50 years ago, that still weren't enough 50 years ago, but we're like, you could maybe make the case that they were close to being enough. And we can't even do the basic things now. And again, we still have these reactionary parties and media organizations funded by the oil and gas industry refusing to do anything. We just talked with Jeremy Appel last week about the Alberta election and the whole NDP campaign, which was like pro-pipeline and barely even mentioned climate change through the whole campaign, while the province was on fire. We've got reactionaries blocking bike lanes in cities. Like, they're freaking out about bike lanes. They're freaking out about, like, green urban planning that makes it so you can get groceries and go see the doctor in the neighborhood you live in, and you don't have to drive a car all over the place. And they're like, this is exactly like a concentration camp. You know? And it's like, still, the only thing we can do things is through this liberal democracy. You just got to vote. You just got to vote for the right people, and then eventually you can do it. No, I'm starting to come to the opinion that this liberal democracy that we love to lecture all these countries about around the world is not quite cutting it. Not quite getting the job done. Not quite as democratic as we like to talk about. We all love to talk about how democratic it is, and we can vote for 5 different fucking parties. You can vote for 5 different wings of the capitalist class that all work for the oil and gas industry. That's democracy. And your vote counts just as much as your conservative neighbor who watches nothing but Rebel News and thinks that climate change is like a plot from George Soros to destroy the white race. And he gets to vote too. And whoever has the most money can get their message out there to the most people. Good. Very nice. Yeah. Let's make sure we continue lecturing fucking China about how authoritarian they are, because it's run by it's in a one-party system. Or Cuba, or wherever, or DPRK. You have 5 whole candidates to vote for in the U.S. That's right. And I think they had the right idea with mandatory re-education. I mean, it's just impossible to look around at our culture and our society and be like, oh yeah, we can just keep going like this. No. We can't have mass re-education. That would be way too authoritarian. Let's just have these people just running around influencing our politics and our society until we're all the way in the goddamn toilet. Chris Christie is the way of the future. I'm looking forward to Chris Christie going after Trump. You know, Chris Christie's a corrupt, reactionary bully himself. But he seems like in terms of like conservative politicians, I feel like Chris Christie has more of like a genuine quality to him that doesn't just seem like he came off the assembly line, you know, at the whatever fucking conservative like consultancy group is like putting these guys out there. Good morning, Rib. Good morning, Up the Reds. Hello. The birthday week continues. That's absolutely right. Up the Reds. Thank you. He's a huge ass, but he's a genuine ass for sure. Like, that's what I mean. He's like, and I'm not. This is not an endorsement of Chris Christie, but I am looking forward to seeing him going after Trump and like mixing it up with those guys. It was very funny seeing Marco Rubio doing like 2016 debate revisionism. Chris Christie didn't end my campaign. It's like, Marco, come on, he did. Let's be clear here. Let's be clear about what happens. He absolutely did end your whole campaign, for sure. Marco. Remember when he closed all the beaches and his whale ass out there getting pictured? For sure, and there's the whole thing with the bridge as well. Absolutely just a corrupt, reactionary buffoon. You know, I couldn't agree more. You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh, Marco, you sweet summer child.
Calm Like a Tom, thank you so much for 29 months resub at tier 2. Thank you, Calm Like a Tom. I thought maybe I fixed my counter so it would go up automatically again. What about if I do this, though? Why? 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 I have to hide it and bring it back and then it goes up. That makes no sense. That just makes no sense at all. Refresh cache of current page. What happens when I press that? Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Let me see this, Johnny. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's really bad. That is really bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you, sir. That is very bad. Yeah, it like I see that I'm in the extreme zone here in the map. It's really not like that outside my door right now. I guess it must be the rain impacting it somehow. Let me see here. That didn't work. Yeah. That's really not good. In my understanding, this guy is not supposed to look like this. that is absolutely the Mexico filter, for sure. Careful, rain can pull all sorts of ugly shit that'll take a few hours to dissipate. Oh, good. Good. And it's going to be 30 plus in Alberta this weekend. Rob living in Sicario. No, but this is not me. According, I'm in the like extreme zone according to the like weather map, but it's nowhere near this bad outside right now. And I didn't notice the like the mesquite wood smell as much this morning as I did yesterday. I don't know what the deal is with that. Yeah, this is telling me something different here. This is kind of what I suspected. See, I'm kind of outside of it. I don't know what that other map was. I don't know why I'm getting two different sources of information here. But as you can see, I'm like, this confirms more of my eyeball test and more what I'm dealing with now. You can see I'm kind of outside the big toxic cloud. I'm just missing it. I'm sure that's going to change anytime now. Is the extreme zone for air quality or fire risk? It's air quality. It's air quality. So maybe I'm not in the extreme zone. I don't know anymore. I don't know who to believe. Again, I definitely don't smell it as much today.
So some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual and I found this.
Oh goodness. Lucid, hello. Lucid, thank you. Thank you for the raid, Lucid. How is the Lucid Fox stream today? God damn it, you know what? I love that Lucid Fox. I really do. Damn it. Thank you for the raid, Lucid. Welcome, Raiders. Please smash the follow button.
Good old Rob to talk you through all
it's
this.
It's still not going up.
Damn it, I love that, Rob.
It's still not going up. The counter. Hope the stream was good, though. Thanks again for the raid. I'm Rob, everyone. Hello, Lucid Raiders.
Wow,
Thanks for...
Okay, Rob. Seriously, wow.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Calm like a Tom. Thank you so much for the incredibly generous 10 gifted subs. That's so kind of you. Oh my gosh. If the counter doesn't go up, how do you get the dopamine hit? I know, I have to do it automatically. It dilutes it. I know. Thank you so much, Calm Like a Tom. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm Rob. Hello to Lucid Gang. Please smash the follow button if you haven't already. Okay? Please just really smash that follow button. If you can, if you want to. I mean, you don't even know, you might not even know what I'm about. Maybe you've not listened to Lucid's appearances on the Insurgents podcast. Maybe you're not familiar with the work that I do on here. Maybe you're not familiar with my tweets or podcasting or any of the other content that I'm always working on. But look at this, though. Don't you want to follow and subscribe to this? Huh? I've been brought here to ask you to put out all the fires. Also, my AQI is about to hit 209 from 38 in a few hours. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'll see what I can do. You know, no guarantees. I'm going to head up there and really give that fire the what for. How about that? I'm gonna go and I'll shake my fist at you, fire. How dare you, sir? We're gonna defeat the fire with the power of civility. How about that? We don't want to be too mean or rude about this, okay? Rob, can you put those fires out? I'm coming up there this weekend, and I would like to not be poisoned. Red scary. Red scary. Folks, can we please get a happy birthday Red Scary going in the chat? It's too late. It's happening. It's happening. We just watched a video on problematic fandoms and such. I didn't realize you could get a live example so quickly. Well, I proved you wrong there, didn't I? Where are you coming in Canada, Red Scary? I didn't know you were coming to Canada. Anyway, that's my whole thing, though, is that like these fires are coming from Quebec. It's been very...
You simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Sasha says, happy birthday, Red Scary, as well. And thank you, Sasha, for the 100 friend coin. Got a water conference in Toronto. Okay, cool. Well, sorry I'm not going to be there. Would have been good to see you IRL, but maybe next time. Pinklon, hello, what's up? That's what I mean, though. It's like there's like the fires are coming, not even Quebec. It's like the entirety of Canada. It's been the East Coast and Alberta as well. But the fires that are affecting the East Coast are coming from Quebec, but are weirdly missing me. You see, I'm here. I'm here in the green zone. I'm here in the green zone. Somehow the wind is like blowing this toxic cloud just around where I am and just hovering over the entirety of the eastern seaboard there. Right in the pocket. That's right. And here, you know what? I've got a bone to pick with some of you actually about this, because as you know, folks, these fires are happening in Canada. These fires are happening in Canada, and weirdly, strangely, I'm seeing a lot of Americans who don't live here. You don't even live here. Complaining about the fires in Canada. Why are you complaining? You don't live here. You're American. You're not Canadian. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed. You don't live here. It's the rule. These rules have been carefully explained to me by many people. These rules about who's allowed to comment on what have been very carefully and meticulously explained to me.
Rob to talk you through all this.
TRRS Friendship Triangle.
Thank you very much, Bonbon C3PO, for the 21 months of Tier 1. It's been people have been very adamant about this. You're only allowed to talk about things when you live in the place where the thing's happening. Oh wait, sorry, what? Sorry, what? You're saying the toxic wildfire cloud emanating from Canada is hovering over the United States and affecting people there? Oh, interesting. Wow. Interesting. If only there was some kind of analogy. If only there was some kind of analogy that made sense that I could talk about here. That's true, and I am taking my climate catastrophe to reference petty Twitter beef. That's absolutely exactly right. What I'm doing right now. That is precisely what I'm doing. This is my stream, okay? This is about me. It's about me. The Mason-Dixon line is protecting us from the Canadian poison. Yeah. I'm being told capitalism is a global system of economic devastation. Crazy. Crazy. Anyway, I'm not gonna brag about being somehow out of the path of toxic wildfire smoke right now, because I know that's not going to last. I'm sure in a day or two it's going to blow back over me, and then like, all my I'm not going to end zone dance over avoiding the worst of the toxic smoke cloud right now. It is indeed June 7th. That is right. And yeah, Lennon Smash, you can get grandfathered in as an honorary Canadian. Okay, you've been here a couple times. I'm totally going to pull that whole bit again when I do the podcast this week. This is just a little preview of that, because I can be petty with it. It's true. It's because of too many powerful birthdays. It's Gemini season. Gemini season is threatening our way. It's so powerful that it's threatening our way of life. Re 300 is a strong Gemini. Very nice. Happy belated birthday to you, Re 300. How old did you just turn on June 1st? Gemini is causing destruction once again. How old are you turning, Red Scary? I think I'm a bit older than you, right? Re 300 is 26. Just a little baby. Just a little baby. I'll send you another Goodwill CL Smooth. There we go. Nice. Red Scare's 31. Okay. Kind of a little baby as well, but reaching adulthood though. Yeah, I have to stream a hockey jersey. Not necessarily. I'm Canadian. I never really mention hockey all that much. I'm so I just say that how I don't talk about hockey much. I gotta say though, even though I'm not a huge hockey fan, I'm so annoyed at the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I work in government. 30 is a baby there. Yeah, I imagine. They're changing the system from the inside though. 41. I'm a wise old sage and totally have my life together. Don't look into it. Exactly. Yeah, I just turned 40 and here I am on twitch.tv. Every single day of my life. Saying things like slub to rib. And like doing dances and stuff. Oh my God, Sasha. I'm going to let you stay in the community still. Yeah, I'm licking eggs here on twitch.tv, Mr. 40-year-old guy here. Sasha, you're still welcome in the community, but that's barely out of childhood, though. Expansion teams born on third base making home runs. Is what I was saying. Like with Vegas Golden Knights, there have been hockey teams in Canada agonizing for decades. The Habs last won the Stanley Cup in 1994. The Maple Leafs just reached the second round of the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, like this year. And meanwhile, the Las Vegas Golden Knights are just sailing to their second Stanley Cup appearance in like 4 years.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to
And don't they know that like being a hockey fan is about suffering? It's about pain. It's not supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to like it, okay? You're not supposed to like it. You're not supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be miserable. That's how it works. The new expansion rules let Vegas and Seattle be competitive immediately. How does that work exactly? I have not looked into it at all. Again, I barely pay attention to this. And thank you very much, Calm Like a Tom, again for another gifted sub. My goodness. Thank you, Calm Like a Tom. I really appreciate all the support. Why is the sub goal like that? That's so weird. Ugh. Every single Knights fan is a fake fan. They never had to endure years of basement finishes and pretend that next year will be any different. Their summer children do not know the pain of winter yet. This is what I'm talking about. Really any sport, but hockey in particular. If you're enjoying yourself, you're doing it wrong. Okay? I have unlimited sub power now. That's right, Ree. And if you've just joined the community, if you're lucky enough to get a gifted sub from some of our generous community members, enjoy now some of the very best emotes on this entire platform. The worst, though, is being a Cubs fan. But at least Cubs fans, like, lived through the torture, like a century of torture, and then got a small modicum of release. You know, that's your best case scenario being a sports fan. Decades and decades of pain and torture, and then maybe, possibly, a fleeting moment of happiness. That's your best case scenario. It's none of this like, oh, you're just waltz right to the playoffs, right to the Stanley Cup Finals every single year. They're trying to bring hockey back to Atlanta, and I'm just like, why? I remember those Atlanta Thrashers teams were pretty good for a while, too. They had some good players. I got to admit, I didn't even realize that the Thrashers had moved. I didn't even realize that was the case. Fellow Patriots, I have intel. I'm not a bi-coastal elite. I'm using my AC like crazy. Because you damn Canadian commies chose to light 1 million cigarettes in forest. Smokey the Bear would never. Also, IRP Iron Sheik. RIP Iron Sheik. And that's true. We gotta shout out to the Sheik. Okay, the Thrashers moved back to Winnipeg. Okay, I see. My peak as a sports fan was the 91 Blue Jays World Series. I have a barely any recollection of that. I remember falling asleep on the floor in front of one of those World Series games. The year of the 93 lockout or the 94 lockout, the Expos were like the best team in baseball. The Expos may have very well won the World Series that year. I've mentioned this before, but I would like the Expos to come back to Montreal. If the Expos had a nice stadium down by the water here in Montreal, it would be packed every single day. And I would, even though I'm not a huge baseball fan, I would absolutely love to sometimes go down there to enjoy a game and have a nice cold beer and a hot dog. I love that shit. I would really enjoy being able to do that. Go to Wrigley Field for a Pepsi and hot dog, get hit with the baseball. We love it. We love it. Is there a chance they'll be back? I don't know. They would need a stadium, I think, because that's the whole thing with the Expos is that they're playing out in Olympic Stadium, which was like just a shitty location for them to play. It was out of everyone's way, and it's this massive, huge stadium that was never full. What's the best NBA game we've been to? I've only been to a couple, honestly. I would love for Montreal to get an NBA team as well. I think it should. I haven't been to an NBA game since Bargnani's rookie season. Andrea Bargnani's rookie season. Which was quite some time ago now. I was like, I think this guy's going to be pretty good. This Bargnani guy is going to be solid. If Seattle can't get an NBA team back, Montreal has no hope. And that was the Sonics were my first favorite team when I first started watching the NBA. I really hope the Sonics do come back. They should. If there's anything I trust Rob on, it's basketball prospects. Thank you. I have a lot of credibility on this. Oh, that's cool, Coal Mine. That must have been fun. I would like to go to more games. I don't get to go to Toronto that often over the last 7 years. Just haven't gotten a lot of opportunities to. Yeah, I think Wemby's going to be good. Although I do think he's being set up as like potential greatest of all time, and the expectations are so high that it's like really unlikely that he's going to meet these hugely high expectations. But excuse me. Sorry. God bless your soul. Thank you, Dr. Maggot. Thank you for that. I think the Nuggets are probably going to win tonight, Coleman. We'll see, though. We'll see. So, there are a couple things that I wanted to take a look at. I don't know if we need to chit-chat about anything else. I mean, this has been some productive chit-chat, I guess. Let me see if this has changed at all. The Toxic Cloud map. No one look at my location. Nope. I'm still, despite what the title of this stream says, I'm still sitting pretty in the green area here. Who knows for how long, though? Again, I don't want to start bragging too much about this. My favorite Cena match, Coal Mine, I would say, is probably one of the matches with CM Punk. Either the one at Money in the Bank or the one at on Raw that they had before the WrestleMania. Okay, so let me just find something. There's something I saw online that I wanted to watch that I didn't. A lot of the time when I see these clips, I don't look at them because I want to make sure I can react to them here. Apparently, chaos erupts in the House of Commons between Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre. Let's see this. Let's see what's going on in the Canadian House of Commons between Trudeau, or Trudeaupe, as he's sometimes known, and man of the people, Pierre Poilievre, non-elitist, average common man, Pierre Poilievre. I call it just inflation. The people's champ. Thank you. Trudeau is negative. And we might as well, let's call him by his real last name. Castro. Castro. Justin Castro. That's why we have. That's why Canada is now a communist government, as people know. Let's see this. So apparently there's a war of words. Let's see if this lives up to expectations. Let's see if this war of words between Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre lives up to expectations.
He is in love with the sound of his own voice and his own attacks, but he doesn't actually check the facts. They don't have a plan for the future of the Canadian economy. On this side, we're investing in and leveraging technologies that are cutting emissions and creating good jobs in Come By Chance in Newfoundland and Labrador, for example. And we're making sure that it's no longer free to pollute while giving Canadians money back.
It's no longer free to... Yes, they're touting the fucking carbon tax. Oh, we've got this carbon tax. Yeah, that should solve the problem. The whole country's on fire and no one can afford anything. Anyone 45 and below has completely given up on having any kind of a future. Maybe we should focus on that. It is just like UK Parliament, King Uendo. It's true. Although it's not quite as exciting. Like I genuinely enjoy watching the question period and all that stuff in UK Parliament. It's rarely that exciting in Canada. Yeah, I should totally be an MP. Imagine if I was in here making speeches in the in Parliament. I should be an MP. There was that one election, that NDP wave election in I think 2014. I should have just run in that. Like you could have just that election. Like pretty much anyone could just run for something under the NDP and you would have won. First MP to lick an egg on the floor. Thank you. He's saying I'm going to be smashing through the glass ceilings. Yeah, that was the Jack Layton election. Definitely, yeah. Anyway, let's hear the comeback.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
So, the high...
This is the tough guy, man of the people. This is the guy, of course, according to CSIS, that China is just so... They're staying up late at... President Xi is staying up late at night worrying about this guy. Oh, no. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about this guy, Pierre Poilievre? I'm so scared. Just straining to convince themselves that they love this dude, for sure. Come on. Come on. He's such a dork. Look at the smug look on his face. God.
So, the high school drama teacher over here accuses others of liking the sounds of their own voices. This from a guy who, if he were made of chocolate, he would eat himself.
Oh my. This is really, the gloves are off. The gloves are off here. This is getting crazy. This is getting crazy. Can he say that? Everyone's doing a tight five here. That's right. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, Red Scary. I don't know. It's the sick. That was the sick burn alarm just went off. Because my mic was picking up on that. Let's hear more. We're only 45 seconds into this clip. This is outrageous. This is outrageous stuff so far.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I was a high school teacher before getting into politics, and I'm having a little trouble remembering what exactly the job that the Leader of the Opposition had before getting into politics.
Okay, that is actually good. That is actually good. How are you such a nerd that you're letting Justin Trudeau dog walk you like this? Come on. When you make Justin Trudeau look like this cool, suave, like, dude, how much of a nerd do you have to be? And he did walk right into that, criticizing someone for being a high school teacher, Polyev, who's, as Trudeau correctly points out, has never had a real job in his fucking life. And immediately got into the conservative, is such a freak weirdo that he immediately got into like the conservative political sphere immediately after like high school. That's how much of a weird freak this guy is. That was actually good. You got to hand it to him.
Yes, and he left right in the middle of the semester, and I'm having trouble remembering why.
Leader of the Opposition continues on his personal and his partisan attacks. We're going to continue to deal with...
I'm sorry. What part, I have a question for all of you to reflect on. I don't want anybody to shout the answer out. This is not a question I want an answer. What part of, while somebody is speaking, we sit quietly and listen?
Thank you, Ree 300.
Understand? Write
Shut up.
email if you want, once we're done, and you can explain to me, because I don't understand that.
I've looked through the history of Parliament, and there was one case where the Speaker decided that he had had enough of question period, and he left. In fact, the entire sitting was adjourned for around 30 minutes, and I'm really in the mood for that today, so I'm going to ask the Prime Minister to start over from the beginning. I have a hypothesis for you, Mr. Speaker. Why you're seeing this behavior in the House? Have we ever seen a Prime Minister who has so little worthiness of the functions that he occupies? Illegal election funding, industrial espionage.
This is good voice, yeah.
Trudeau Foundation, contempt for intelligence services, and many, many other problems.
Oh, that's going leaning into the we must support our brave CSIS guys. Thank you for the...
Not for this buddy act with his friend. When will this Prime Minister put an end to these policies?
This is what he actually sounds like. That's right.
Very, very helpful to China.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask
the China bad. Le Chine c'est mal. That's the bloc. That's what the Bloc Québécois, their stance is. Monsieur Speaker, le Chine sont tellement mal. Monsieur Speaker, le Premier ministre, il aime le Chine. Il veut approcher Président Xi pour une petite caresse. What's that golden thing on the table? Oh, that's one of our sacred objects. You don't have those? You don't have those? We got a couple of sacred... You think Britain has all the sacred objects? No, we got some as well. We got some sacred objects as well. Our sacred objects are guns.
For a second. We had started getting better. Now all of a sudden everybody's getting excited again. Maybe it's because the end of question period is coming, and maybe I'll just skip to the last question and then work my way back, and that might work out better. But I'm going to let the Prime Minister continue, and we'll see if I have to resort.
How do you
that.
dress like this, going to your job and be like, no, this is a normal job that I have. This makes sense. It makes sense that I do this. You're just kind of cosplaying British Parliament. Well, that's what I mean. If we're going to cosplay British Parliament, like at least like let's take the gloves off. Let's take the gloves off. What, this is too much? That's how that exchange that we just saw now was so outrageous that the speaker had to be like, hey, whoa, guys, hey, whoa. Like, fuck. If we're going to do it, let's actually have this shit. Let's have at it, mate. If you disparage Tim Hortons more than 3 times, you get bonked on the head with a scepter. That's right. If you're ever too horny in the House of Parliament, you get bonked We do need shoot promos in politics. I agree. That was as close as we saw. That was as close as we come. Our government sucks, but at least we were original with it. We made a new government twice. Yeah. I would like to see more of the gloves off question period style stuff going on. Imagine, I must admit, Red Scary, think about this. Imagine if they had to cart Brandon down to the Congress so like everyone could like yell at him and he'd have to go back and forth with them and stuff like that. That would be, you have to admit that would be entertaining. Justin Trudeau, I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired and I work with fucking children. That's what I mean. Like I saw this clip and it's like, oh, these personal attacks in the House of Commons is going to be so wild. And you know, it was all right, but like we should keep going with this. I would like to see more of this. That would be sick. Like you have to admit. But that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, so look at this crazy clip of the personal attacks in the House of Commons. And you have the speaker being like, whoa, now let's calm down, everybody. Whoa, come on now, eh? Couldn't work like that because I'd honestly just resort to telling everyone to suck my ass. Yeah, I do the DX, the Degeneration X gesture at everyone. It is theater, yeah, absolutely. The speaker needs a soundboard of air horns. That would be good. Hold on, let's try and recreate what that sounds like. Let's try and recreate what that sounds like. Okay, we're gonna go back here.
Of his own voice and his own attacks, but he doesn't actually check the facts. They don't have a plan for the future of the Canadian economy. On this side, we're investing in and leveraging technologies that are cutting emissions and creating good jobs in
Trudeau does look good. I take no pleasure in reporting that.
And we're making sure that it's no longer free to pollute while giving Canadians money back.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
So, the high school drama teacher over here accuses others of liking the sounds of their own voices. This from a guy who, if he were made of chocolate, he would eat himself.
Yes,
what
Mr.
is
Speaker,
that?
I was a high school teacher before getting into politics, and I'm having a little trouble remembering what exactly the job that the Leader of the Opposition had before getting into politics.
I'm having trouble remembering why.
God, he's such a nerd. I didn't even get the chocolate thing. Is it because Justin was fat at some point? No, it has nothing to do with that. I guess it's just like you love yourself so much that you want to eat yourself, I guess is my main thing. Why did he leave? Because I think there's some kind of like possible scandal that I don't know if there's anything to it, but something that like some involving
all this.
Are they having a Sorkin off?
That's right. B-Rat, thank you. That's right. Thank you for the 20 months of Tier 1 B-Rat. That's exactly what's going on. They just need to do it in a hallway during a walk and talk. Yeah, no, there's some kind of a rumor about Trudeau and inappropriate relationships or something like that. I don't know if there's actually anything to it. It's like a kind of QAnon kind of thing. So I think he was kind of doing a little reference to that. It's literally gotten worse outside here. That's not good, Johnny. That's not good. For sure, yeah, he's playing the hits for his base, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good point, Jay. We don't need to invent reasons why Trudeau sucks. He sucks because of the things he's done. I think that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, we're at this point where the country's on fire. The country's on fire. No one can afford a home. No one has any hope except for anything except further decline. You got this resurgent right-wing movement who for some reason are convincing themselves to support this absolute fucking nerd. But all kinds of real serious things going on, especially just focusing on the climate, considering how much that's in the headlines right now. And Trudeau's just sitting there talking about carbon taxes. He's talking about carbon taxes like they're fighting for these pipelines. They're fighting for more oil pipelines across unceded indigenous territory and sending in the RCMP to bust up indigenous-led blockades and protests while the country's on fire. And they're talking about carbon taxes and then having this little petty exchange of personal attacks and insults. Although I must admit, the one question talking about what Pierre Poilievre's job was before getting into politics, so that was good. I will reluctantly admit that was a good burn. Is Freeland still the heir to Trudeau? I would say yes. Yeah. No one can afford heating in the winter. The summers are literal fires, but we've got to have our politicians trying to dunk on each other in Parliament. Exactly. That's what I mean. And there's plenty of things to like really go after Trudeau on, but they're all things that the Conservative Party would agree with or would continue or make a lot worse. So that's why you see how fucking completely toothless any of their attacks are, because it's all just about dumb wokeness and like stupid bullshit rather than the actual real failures of the Liberal government, you know? All things that like landlords like Pierre Poilievre, he's sitting there talking about housing and like, oh, young people are living with their parents. People can't afford a home. This motherfucker's a landlord. He doesn't want housing prices to go down. He's representing the investor class. He wants the prices to keep going up. He wants the line to keep going up. And he's sitting there talking about like, oh, these kitchen table economic issues. Is supporting these hardworking, you know, blue collar types. You know what I mean? Like he criticizes Trudeau on housing, but has no interest in like talking about the idea of decommodifying housing. You know, just like you could hit Trudeau on all other kinds of like fucking the telecom monopoly, for example, which everyone in the country hates as well. Is Pierre Poilievre going to talk about like nationalizing the telecom companies? No, of course not. He's talking about lowering taxes for their CEOs and shareholders. I'm curious if there's anywhere that houses are affordable here in Raleigh, North Carolina. You need like $600K minimum. It's insane. Yeah, no, there's not. No. I mean, in Canada, the housing crisis is even worse in many ways than a lot of places in America. In Quebec, Montreal, it's probably the most affordable in the country, and it's still not affordable. Nobody even eats at kitchen tables anymore. How about coffee table issues where I actually eat? That's a good point. Yeah. We're all eating in front of the tube. Anyway, you know, this guy is just such a nerd. And again, we talk about like our liberal democracy, right? We're just all, as much as we brag about having all these different parties to vote for, the entire history of this country is just the liberals and these guys just passing the mythical baton back and forth. And overall, just contributing to the exact same settler colonialist resource extraction project that this country has always been about. It kills me that my parents' generation had things they deemed starter homes. Yeah, and it was easy to get one of these homes after getting a great union job after your 4 years of extremely affordable or totally free education. And then you could just get a home and support a family of 4 or 5 on one income. They keep the camera just above the belt because they're actually all having a big circle jerk just out of shot. Yeah. President Xi, please send Shenzhou J-20 all-purpose stealth fighter jets. One of these days, One of these days, when things get bad enough, that's when we'll reach out a hand in friendship and alliance with China. If only a brave Canadian could become a member of parliament to advocate, to extend a hand in friendship and cooperation with China to bail us out of the consequences of our decades of failed and backwards economic policies. Yeah, good union job and a high school education with upward mobility at that too, for sure. For sure. That's the amazing thing, honestly, about that whole parents' generation and the fact that
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada.
Whoa.
I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Deadflower.exe. Thank you for the raid. And hello, Benny. What's up? Thank you for the raid, Dead Flower. How was your stream today? The Benny's GF. Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. If Canada partnered with China, the water wars are getting moved up to next year instead of from 5 years from now. It would be very funny as soon as we'd ever made a decision that was outside of that U.S. State Department approved foreign policy, how quickly the curtain would rise up. In the words of Frank Zappa, the curtain would rise up and you would see the brick wall at the back of the theater. Okay, Benny, thanks for stopping by. It's going okay. It's going okay. The entire country of Canada is on fire. That's not great. That's not ideal. Y'all are going to be so mad when you don't have homes, your air is toxic, and you're selling all your water so we can build golf courses in Arizona. For sure. For $1. It's going to be like that deal that Nestle has to pump all the free water. They just pay $1 annual fee just so it's they can pretend that there's some kind of an exchange going on. We're going to be buying our fresh water to get the Arizona golf courses, make sure they're nice and hydrated. For sure, yeah, absolutely, Carrier Wave. There'll be no need for any invasion. No need for any invasion. And Pierre Poilievre and all his fucking dumbass supporters as well will all support it, of course. Because of wokeness or something, whatever reasoning that it takes to convince their tiny little brains that this is actually a good thing. It'll own the libs. It'll really own the libs, and all these people will support it. Selling any reserves to flood the Arizona Coyotes hockey rink. Good. Great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah, 1.5 degrees in the next 2 years. Good. That thing that was supposed to happen by the year 2100 that's happening right now in this decade. I don't know, folks. I don't know. I just don't know. Every day I tune into Rob's stream to listen called The Stupid Bug People Stupid. And I do deliver on that. I do deliver on that, don't I? I may not be making a quote unquote difference. But at least I've got that. Pierre Poilievre is the most extreme. That's right. I kind of like the juxtaposition between the headline and Pierre's smug nerd face here as well. You're seeing actually Poilievre let's actually take a look at this. Let's look at Poilievre's base. Polyev tried to do like a cursory tweet remembering a Muslim family that was murdered by a white supremacist terrorist in this country, I believe 2 years ago. And all his fans are like, why are you this, you've gone woke. You've gone woke. Let's look at the replies from these people. Here's Pierre. 2 years ago, an innocent Muslim family was murdered in a vile terrorist attack in London, Ontario. Today, we stand with the Muslim community as they remember the victims and resolve to continue combating Islamophobia. You'd think maybe this would just be something that these people could just let go, right? Just make it, he's a politician, just make a cursory reference to this brutal white supremacist murder that took place. And look at all these people complaining. Did you say anything about Josh Alexander or the 70 plus churches that were burned? And first of all, he did, for sure. What do you say about this? A teacher at Londonderry Junior High School in Edmonton tells Muslim people off for skipping school to avoid LGBTQ pride events. Where's your outrage? Muslims love pride and sodomy. A bunch of people calling him out as well. But yeah, you have a bunch of these people. You have a bunch of these like Canadian Christian fascists in his replies criticizing him for making a cursory statement remembering this terrorist attack that happened. How about we remember D-Day? A lot of those people as well. On D-Day. You're talking about this on D-Day. This guy, Jonathan Bryant, with a straight pride. With a straight pride PFP. Canadian patriot. Conservative New Brunswicker with an appreciation for Alberta. How pathetic. With hashtag Trudeau must go. So he's a conservative New Brunswicker who just likes Alberta, even though he doesn't live anywhere near there, but just likes Alberta's general vibe. How pathetic. And so this is in response to Polyev talking about a murder of an entire family that was murdered, and saying we stand with the Muslim community as they remember the victims and resolve to continue combating Islamophobia. This motherfucker says, define Islamophobia. All religions and ideologies are open to criticism. But no one's talking about criticism, though, Jonathan. We're talking about a murder that happened, where a family was murdered. These people are just freaks, comfy hogs living the most entitled lives in human history. This is one of the more cursed Twitter accounts I think I've ever come across. Straight, like it's everything about this. Straight pride. Canadian patriot, conservative New Brunswicker with an appreciation for Alberta, hashtag Trudeau must go. That is really unbelievable. Can you pander anymore, but you won't stand with fired, unjabbed Canadian healthcare workers, and you won't stand with Christians? These are the people that Polyev himself has cultivated, has been trying to reach out to. You sound like Trudeau and his WEF-loving cabinet. Say something about Tiananmen like a man, says Santo Vindicato. Oh man, another incredibly cursed account. Santo Vindicato, patron saint of the vindicated. The witch may be dead, but I will continue my fight against Han supremacy. Oh my gosh. Canadian. Some of these replies are so bad. While I agree with the sentiment, says Canadian Jana. Uh-oh, we got a pronoun. My pronouns are what the fuck. Oh my gosh, can she say that? Can she say that? Look at the bravery. Look at the bravery. While I agree with the sentiment, I think we moved past Islamophobia. Again, we're talking about a family that was murdered here. And we need to battle religionophobia, thinkophobia, and beliefophobia. Good. That's good stuff. I'm on audio only, so I'm just imagining what the profile pics of all these posters are. They're pretty grim stuff. They're pretty grim. What about phobia? That's true, yeah. That's real Sam Harris brain. No, we will not be getting a revolution, no. I mean, if we do, maybe we will. Maybe there's enough... As previous revolutions have shown in the past, sometimes you don't need the entire country. You need a relatively small number of extremely principled people willing to go all the way with it. And I don't know if we have that. Maybe you're right that we'll never have that. But, if we did have one, though, we would need some kind of a program to ensure that people would be completely politically marginalized and ideally have their minds changed from the incorrect ideas to the correct ideas. Anyway, pretty bad stuff. Oh my goodness, what's all this going on? What's this? What's this now? Has this changed at all? Let's see if am I still in the sweet spot? I still am. Through some miracle of God, I'm still somehow avoiding the worst of it. Even the text is extreme in the extreme zone. That's right. Absolutely. There are a couple more things that I wanted to talk about here. Just wondering if I can connect them all together. I might just take a brief moment just to go to the bathroom and get a drink of water, then come back refreshed. I live in Hamilton. The smoke is nicely covering the usual smell of burning plastic we have here. There we go. You got to see the bright side of these things. I sure hope this doesn't go on for too long. Well, unfortunately, what they're saying is that it's going to go on for pretty much the entire summer. So we are on track for Canada's worst ever year of wildfire destruction. Blazes burning in nearly all Canadian provinces and territories, and federal government officials said their modeling shows increased wildfire risk in most of Canada through August. So yeah, if you're having a problem with this on the East Coast, if you're under the toxic wildfire cloud, I would probably not get your hopes up that that's going to be going past anytime soon. Yeah, it's just going to keep happening, and probably is going to happen more frequently every single summer, if we're being honest with ourselves about this.
Canada is on track to face its worst ever year of wildfire destruction. The country has been battling what experts believe is the most severe wildfire season on record there. About 8.2 million acres of land have already been burned. That's about 13 times more than the average over the last decade.
Good.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Monday.
This is a scary time for a lot of people, not just in Alberta, but right across the country, including
That
in
carbon
Atlantic,
tax should really get to the
North,
bottom of this, though.
Quebec, too.
Officials also say that warm and dry conditions are forecast to persist through the end of summer.
It is, in a word, sobering.
Natural Resources Minister Jonathan Wilkinson says the risk of wildfires is set to increase in June, and it remains unusually high throughout the summer.
It shows us that this year's already devastating season could well get worse.
This year's fires have destroyed homes, impacted oil and gas production, and polluted the air even beyond the border into the United States. Currently, there are more than 400 active wildfires in Canada, and more than half of them are deemed out of control. Tens of thousands of people are under evacuation orders across the country.
Good. Good stuff. Again, folks, we just got to we can't live in fear. Okay? We can't live in fear of wildfire season. When now every single year, both coasts are just totally blanketed with toxic clouds of wildfire smoke. Do we want to let the smoke clouds win or not? Right? We can't live in fear. Let's just all make sure we wash our hands. Just inhale the smoke and you'll build immunity. Your lungs will build immunity from the particulate matter. Okay? This is really good stuff. Thank you. Sorry, I'm going to start just banning people that I get immediate bad vibes from. I regretted there was a person yesterday, and I think it's the same person. There's a person yesterday who just gives me weird, bad vibes. I'm not going to, like, and if someone's just, like, trying to avoid it or whatever, you know, by, like, having this kind of phony support comments, I'm just not going to deal with that anymore. I'm not going to deal with that bullshit anymore. How about that? The vibe check was failed. The vibes are absolutely in shambles. Thank you, Sam. You're 40. The time for putting up with bullshit is over. It is. It is. No, it wasn't you, George. George Smiley, no. Fuck, now I'm trying to remember the username because there was a person yesterday. I don't know if people were in here this chat yesterday. There was a person yesterday doing that exact same kind of routine. Is GPA something? And I regretted not banning them. Do you know what I'm talking about, John? Do you know who I'm talking about? Anyway, I'm not gonna tolerate this shit anymore. Anyway, so what now? There's a couple more things that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, about another 90 minutes or so. I would think I would just like to stand up and like stretch my legs a little bit here. Maybe I could throw on some kind of video content. You know what? People have talked about Cornell West on Democracy Now! Maybe I'll just throw that on. I'll just throw that video on. You can take a look at that. I'm just going to get up, go to the bathroom, get a drink of water. We can talk about this or we can move on.
becoming more crowded. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and former Vice President Mike Pence have both joined the Republican race.
So I'll be right back, okay, folks?
The philosophy professor...
I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We can vibe out to this Cornel West on Democracy Now! Video. I saw a couple of people referencing it before. We already talked about this a little bit. We can get a little more into it, though. Let me just go. I'm going to get up, walk around. I'm going to get a drink of water. I'll come back. We'll get it more into it. Okay.
And civil rights activist Cornel West has announced he's running for president as a candidate with the People's Party. In a short video released Monday, Dr. West criticized both the Democratic and Republican parties.
We're not talking about hating anybody. We're talking about loving. We're talking about affirming. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed to the margins. Because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon, about big tech.
West's announcement surprised many political observers. In 2008, he endorsed Barack Obama, but later became a vocal critic of the Obama-Biden administration. In 2016 and 2020, he backed Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primaries. Cornel West is now running as a member of the People's Party, which was founded by a former staffer of Sanders after the 2016 election as an alternative to the two-party system. This will be the first time the party has fielded a candidate for president. According to the New Republic, the People's Party has ballot access in barely a handful of states. Dr. West is one of the nation's most recognized public intellectuals. He's a professor of philosophy and Christian practice at Union Theological Seminary. He formerly taught at Princeton and Harvard universities. He's joining us now from Irvine, California. Cornel West, welcome back to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Can you talk about why you've decided to run for president of the United States?
First, Sister Amy, I want to salute you. You are an exemplar of longevity, of integrity, and consistency. And, you know, we go back many, many decades. So I just want to always begin on that note. You're putting a smile on Brother George and Sister Dorothy's face, your precious parents. But no, my announcement of running for President of the United States to be head of the empire to help dismantle it in such a way that poor and working people would be at the very center, at the very core of our vision of what a good society actually is. It has to do, as you can imagine, with these very bleak times, these very desperate times. So it's a kind of act of desperation. You know, I'm 70 years old. I've been at this for 55 years, and I have a calling that flows out of the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel and Edward Said and Chief Joseph and Dorothy Day and Grace Lee Boggs and Louisa Marino. All of those are the best of America. And I think we're at such a low point that America needs to be reintroduced to its best. And its best has always been the movements for justice, the struggles for freedom, the solidarity based on a fundamental commitment to the dignity of those Sly Stone calls everyday people. And there's no doubt in my mind that the two-party system now is a major impediment for the empowerment of poor and working people. I'm thoroughly convinced that, of course, the neo-fascist Republican Party has already made it very clear that they're tied to big business and big military, big tech and so forth. And the milquetoast neoliberal Democratic Party strikes me as being incapable of taking seriously the fundamental needs of poor and working people, not just here, but around the world. The militarism abroad, $7 billion frozen for the brothers and sisters in Afghanistan, and what's been AFRICOM in Africa, and what's been going on in the Middle East. Thank God that you keep track of the precious Palestinian brothers and sisters and all the hell that they're catching. You have it every day, and I thank God that you do. Why? Because Palestinian peoples deserve to have a visibility in terms of their suffering and ways in which they can attempt to get out from under. Same would be true, of course, for our Jewish brothers and sisters in a Russia or in a France where their rights are being violated. We're wrestling with organized greed. We're wrestling with institutionalized hatred. We saw that with our precious gay brothers and lesbian sisters and queer siblings in the earlier report. But it's also a matter of routinized indifference. There's an indifference to the plight of the vulnerable. More and more, it's becoming not just a fad and a fashion, it's becoming a normalized way of life. And that is what leads toward wholesale fascism, not just here, but in other parts of the world. And we've seen it, of course, in Hungary. You see it. We saw it in Brazil. We can go on and on in this regard. So for me, it was really a matter of trying to be consistent with what I've been about for the last 55 years.
Cornel, you talk about militarism.
Yeah, and like, this should be interesting as well. Like what Johnny's saying, regardless of the People's Party and how lib he can be, it'd still take him over what our current likely options are. I definitely think it's a good thing to have this voice as part of that process. I just think that coming out of the gate with this association with the People's Party is a big fucking mistake. If he was just announcing some kind of independent run, or like we were saying, even the Green Party, if he was running for the Green Party, I would actually be I'd be way more enthusiastic about that, despite all the issues or whatever, the way he doesn't go far enough on a number of issues. Why not the Communist Party? Well, because he's not a communist. I mean, that would be the number one reason. Which I think he's probably going to make pretty clear. Yeah, as his tweet from 2011 shows, he's literally an anti-communist. He was praising Ronald Reagan's war on communism in 2011, which is probably not ideal as well. Like we were saying, like Moss was saying, even though he's making overtures to the kind of militarism of the Democratic Party, that kind of like should probably put a damper on maybe some of that idea that he's some kind of like anti-imperialist or something like that. Brother Ronald Reagan, that's not good. No, it's not very good at all. A non-Marxist socialist. Oh, see, there we go. Good. Very good. There we go. Hey, Ilana, how's it going? He could not have picked a worse party to run a message campaign. It just shows he doesn't understand the media or political landscape. Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad move just right out of the gate. But anyway, like, despite all these issues, when he's talking about the militarism of the Democratic Party, talking about things like AFRICOM, I mean, that's still, there's no one else that's part of the Democratic Party that's saying these fucking things. So it's probably a positive thing that he's out there at least making some of these arguments. But as we know, it's not going to be nearly enough, and obviously is incredibly deficient in some ways as well. Excuse me.
I want to ask you about Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Of course.
In March of last year, you told The New Yorker, we must try to stop the war, recognizing that the American empire has little or no moral authority when it comes to violation of international law and the overthrow of national sovereignty, as in Latin America, the Middle East, and Asia. You've also called Putin...
I mean, that's pretty uncontroversial. We must try to stop the war, recognizing that the American empire has little or no moral authority when it comes to violation of international law and the overthrow of national sovereignty, as in Latin America, Middle East, and Asia. Totally non-controversial. And Chernobyl, I would say that it is a bit of a hot take, I think. We've debated this before. I don't really want to get into this whole religion argument, but being a Christian and a Marxist is an issue for me. You're either materialist or not. I think like looking to Latin America is interesting in that respect, because like there's parts of the world where Christianity is just like so mixed up with the culture and society. Like a lot of the left-wing coalitions in Latin America are heavily feature people that are Christians, and as such have kind of like some fucked up views as a result of that. But I think like that's when you talk about coalition building, that I think there's no situation where like that wouldn't be part of the coalition, right? If you're putting together some kind of a coalition of people of differing views. Latin America, I think, is a good example. There's a lot of like the Christian, like anti-colonialists, and Christian Marxists are mixed up with this mass movement. They're not the entirety of the movement, but they're a big part of it. Yeah, lefty Christians were on the chopping block big time in the 80s with the Contra killings. That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, he calls America an empire correctly, but then he's calling Russia and China empires as well, which is less good.
You've been severely critical of President Putin for the invasion. Talk about your views on what happened, what is happening, and how the war needs to end.
Well, one, I think
that's a good way of looking at it, Moss.
The clash of two empires, the Russian Empire, is a deeply wounded empire. It's had its territory cut back. Of course, its economy is shrinking. And then you've got the American Empire, which is the most powerful empire in the history of the world. In fact, it's the 68th empire out of the 70, going back to the beginning of the human species. And so on the one hand, you have the promise of the American Empire to the elites in the Russian Empire: we will not move an inch. And within decades, 14 of the satellite countries of the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union, are part of NATO. There's missiles right
I think that's a good way of looking at
the
it, Cinnamon Challenge.
borders and boundaries of the Russian Empire. Now, we know empires behave like empires. I mean, if there's missiles in Canada and Mexico, the U.S. government would blow them to smithereens quick. We saw it in Cuba in 1962. So that empires behave like empires. They're greedy. They're driven by predatory capitalist dispositions. They're obsessed with hierarchy. They're concerned with domination and conquest. The Alexander the Great, associated with a grand empire. So that in that regard, there's no doubt in my mind that the expansion of NATO has played a crucial role in the wounded Russian Empire with all of its repression, all of its regimentation. Let us never forget about the thousands of Russian brothers and sisters who are going to jail in opposition to gangster Putin's criminal invasion. But he's pushed against the wall and he responds. That's how heads of empire respond. So we've got to be in solidarity with the suffering of Ukrainian brothers and sisters, but we have to recognize NATO is an instrument of American imperial foreign policy. We've seen it over and over again, and so we're witnessing a proxy war.
George Smiley, it was a coup. It was a coup. I'm sorry to say. Here's my basic, I don't know if I made this clear enough on Twitter. Here's my basic argument, though. When you have this, like, and there's, of course, with any color revolution, there's organic elements. It starts organically. Many times there's people genuinely trying to democratically fight for their values. When U.S. officials start showing up, though, to support one side of it, Hillary Clinton, John McCain, when they Victoria Nuland, when U.S. officials start showing up to support one side of it and then shepherd in a government that comes into place, which is a pro-EU, pro-Western, pro-NATO government, that's a coup. That's a color revolution. I'm sorry to say. Yachts is the guy. Fuck the EU. That's right. People just rose up to demand more IMF loans. They didn't want that cheap Russian gas. They wanted the IMF version of development. You know, if like that's when there's U.S. officials involved on one side of it, it's a coup. It's a color revolution. You know, sorry to say.
There must be a ceasefire. There must be a stopping of that war. Why? We're on the road to nuclear war. That's the last thing we want to see, my dear sister.
And as president,
let's agree to disagree. I know that history well as well, but I don't take that position. But okay. But if you know the history, then you do acknowledge then that, you know, Hillary Clinton and McCain and all these U.S. officials were there putting their thumbs on the scale for one side of this conflict, right? You know, if we agree on that, then it's like really you're just talking about the semantics, about the terms of what it is. But yeah, when the U.S. officials are involved, that's a color revolution, though.
what exactly would you do to stop that war?
Oh, one is I would pull back on the U.S. military support. I would sit down with the elites from the Chinese empire, given all of their forms of regimentation and repression in their own.
George, the CIA has been in there for years, George. The CIA has been for decades cultivating these far right-wing Ukrainian nationalists and rehabilitating the images of these like Banderites who helped carry out the Holocaust. The CIA has been in Ukraine for decades, long before the Euromaidan. To say that they weren't involved, just because maybe we haven't seen the fucking papers or the memos or the evidence, of course they were involved. George, come on. You're even named after a spy. You're even named after an MI6 spy. And you really doubt George? Come on. You really don't think all of these spooks and spies and intelligence guys were in there? Come on. Come on now. George. Let's be real here. Let's get real.
A context. Think about our precious Muslim brothers and sisters in China, the Uyghurs. But I would sit down with the Chinese. I would sit down with the Ukrainians. I would sit down with the Russians and say, we're going to stop this war and we're going to come up with a plan, a process with a variety of voices heard to make sure that the suffering stops and we understand and we're honest about the larger context of the war. And unfortunately, we just don't get this kind of perspective, you know, in corporate media. Thank God for democracy now, and thank God for a few other venues that try to tell the truth about this. Because you know, my dear sister Amy, that I'm a jazz man in American politics, and jazz is about blues, and blues is about catastrophe, lyrically expressed and candidly confronted and artistically transfigured. And the catastrophes have to be wrestled with. It can be ecological ones. It could be economic ones of grotesque wealth inequality. It can be social ones, political ones, psychic ones. And then there is swing, which is a different conception of time. So we have ways of authorizing a better future given what seem to be all of the closed roots, all of the foreclosures, all of the alternatives trumped. So you have to make sure that the vitality and energy that you have swings in such a way that you never lose hope in having solidarity with oppressed people around the world. And of course, the third element is improvisation. And improvisation is about what? Well, it's not just an artistic skill. Deron Carter's genius.
Your fellow streamer, Mr. Famous Horse, also mentioned the People's Party HQ is very near the CIA. Is this the compatible left saving face for empire? I certainly wouldn't want to rule it out, that's for sure. Although you'd think with CIA funding, they could look a little bit more fucking competent, though. You know, maybe they could actually look like a real political party, and they wouldn't be like raising funds by doing super chats on Jimmy Dore's YouTube channel. You know, maybe if they do have CIA backing, they could look a little bit less fucking amateur hour here.
Geniuses like that still alive remind us.
Thank you, Shirley, but Billy Crystal, the only true jazz man. Thank you.
Freedom fighters, we got to be improvisational.
No, that's exactly the reason they can't look competent. They don't want the left to look competent. Okay, that's working for me.
We got to be flexible. We got to be fluid. We got to be protean. We got to learn how to listen. We can't be dogmatic. We can't be ossified. We can't be petrified in how we look at the world. And right.
And you see, like, you see him scratching up against some very important things, talking about the American empire, talking about the role of U.S. militarism and escalating conflicts Ukraine. But then you see him like doing this, and he recognizes that they're the biggest empire, but then he's making this equation between Russia and between China as well, when there is no equation, There is none. And that's the main thing that we always kind of come away from these conversations with. Take care, George. Let's give all the folks at Langley our regards. Thanks for stopping by. You are welcome to come back, but I do think that you might be a CIA agent, though. Yeah, tell Mr. Cypher we said hello. That's right. Yeah, that's the thing, the whole comparing empires, the American empire bad, but also the Russian empire, also the China empire, that's incoherent.
Now we have to have
sure your shit is secure.
presidential debates and politics in which
are you concerned about the security of your shit?
Look at the world through the lens of what the great Frantz Fanon called the wretched of the earth.
We got to do Burn After Reading movie night. We really, really do have to do a Burn After Reading movie night. That's an essential part of the Rousseau canon.
Cornel
Poor
West.
people and working people, no matter what color, gender, sexual orientation, national identity, or region.
Cornel, you were a surrogate for Bernie Sanders. In fact, in 2016, he chose you as one of the people to write the Democratic Party platform. Have you talked to him about your campaign? You decided to go outside the two-party system. He ran although he is an independent and a socialist, he ran inside the Democratic Party. And has he given you advice?
No, I haven't talked to Bernie recently. We just did a wonderful event based on his wonderful book with Brother John Nichols there in Brooklyn Academy of Music. We had a wonderful time, Sister Jane and my beloved wife, Anahita. We had a wonderful time with him. And Bernie will always be my brother. I've got a forever love for that brother. We just have disagreements. I don't think he would be surprised, though, because I, of course, supported the Greens. Sister Jill Stein, after I supported him, just like I'd go back to the great Ralph Nader. And a lot of people try to view those two as spoilers. They're not spoilers at all. You had mediocre neoliberal candidates who could not galvanize the public, so you don't blame it on the weaker parties.
Ralph Nader, who's probably done more actual good for people than like any member of the Democratic Party ever has. Which is a good point. And, we talked about Cornel West and about RFK Jr. and stuff on the Insurgents podcast this week. And I'm really trying to hold my ground on that kind of reasoning as well. Whenever we talk about other people getting into the race or possible spoilers, that was my main point that I'm going to keep hammering on every time these conversations come up, which is that if Biden loses, it's not going to be because of Cornel West. It's not going to be because of RFK Jr. It's going to be because of the exact same bullshit third way triangulations that Biden has tried to do, that every Democrat always tries to do. That Bernie was actually the one person saying, let's not do these bullshit triangulations that everyone hates. Let's try to actually fight for a progressive agenda. They came together to ensure that they could squash that movement and put in Biden so we could do the exact same thing that the Democratic Party always does. It's been a failure just like it always is. And if they lose, that's going to be why. It's not going to be because of spoilers or what Cornel West bros or RFK bros or anything, whatever the term ends up being. That's going to be the reason why if they do lose. And I'm going to keep repeating that. Oh, sorry. Oh, I got messages coming in here.
And we will never actually be able.
Did you hear that Baby Gronk rizzed up Livy? Jay, I don't know what any of those words mean.
able to deal with the escalating fascism in America with milquetoast neoliberalism. You just end up with caretaker government. You end up with postponing.
Yeah, I got CSIS contacting me to get me back on message here.
Well, you have to get at the roots of fascism, which means I'm going to Trump country, Sister Amy. I'm going to talk to those white brothers and talk to those white sisters and say, quit scapegoating the most vulnerable. Let us confront the most powerful. I don't have a minute for any kind of xenophobia, but at the same time, I know you're catching hell. I know many of you have been losers in corporate globalization. You've been pushed against the wall by big monopolies and oligopolies. You have difficulty trying to engage in any kind of unionization. You have to
Yeah, like, I know that there are certain people that eat this up, this idea. Just don't do racism anymore, brother. Yeah, there's many people. I'm sure all these parents that are like going to fucking fight pro LGBTQIA people at like school board meetings where the school board is talking about pride events. I'm sure that those people, as soon as they hear this message about how they've been left behind by globalization, they're going to be like, oh, okay. Sign me up. Where do I sign up for this? You know, it's a nice idea. And I understand the appeal of this idea too, but like the idea that we can reach out to these fucking extreme reactionaries. This is what all the MAGA communists are about, right? The whole patriotic socialist movement. This is what they want us to do. These people are not interested in hearing this message. Like the trucker convoy, the same people said, reach out to the people. Reach out to the people that in the trucker convoy. They're basically just waiting to become communists. No, they're not. No, they are not whatsoever. They're extreme reactionaries who are literally anti-communist and have less than zero class consciousness and less than zero interest in supporting marginalized peoples. Yeah, it's like when Hillary just told the bankers to cut it out. Just knock it off with your racism and your homophobia and transphobia and xenophobia. Knock it off. Yeah, academics should just not run for office. Yeah. And again, like I know that the patriotic socialists or the MAGA communists or whatever they're calling themselves eat this kind of thing up, but it's not a realistic way of reaching out to people.
Form and transpose and filter your fears through different means rather than following a neo-fascist Pied Piper. We got to be able to speak to
PhDs nuts. Oh my goodness. You could theoretically pull some of them over if you actually improved their material conditions, but the vast majority of them are lost. Yeah. And I think that's part of it too. It's like, that's the idea of having universal programs, is that you can like possibly make some kind of an impact if you enact a program that actually helps these people. Then maybe you might have something to work with then, but you're not pulling them into your movement though and trying to just like tell them to knock it off with their various forms of bigotry that they're all operating on.
These folk directly and as fellow citizens, and I plan to do that. Now, of course,
and that's true, Tardy Leclerc, about the class consciousness of the trucker convoy. So they do have class consciousness. They're just not part of our class.
I got to wrestle with my own black politicians who reinforce the neoliberal hegemony in the black community, and I got to do it lovingly, but I'm going to do it in a very direct way that they, in many ways, have given up on the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. They've become intoxicated too often.
You know, I'll never forget that, you know, Obama, who is constantly under this attack from the right, both politically and in the media, and the way that he's just totally refused to ever like get angry or upset or react to that, and how Cornel West was one of the only people that he got like publicly mad at, because Cornel West had criticized his foreign policy and his like brutal, blood-drenched imperialist foreign policy, and Obama like publicly like yelled at him at some event. He was the only person that he ever actually got mad at, which I think tells you all you need to know about how that fucking coward operates.
Felicities of bourgeois existence, intoxicated with the wine of the world, as the great Negro national anthem, Lift Every Voice, says. But we got black poor, black working people catching hell, mass incarceration.
You can win way more not deeply bigoted people over and educated those who are willing to learn instead of tailing the worst tendencies in our culture. It's so crazy that it just might work, Lana.
Crime against humanity. Who's the major architect of mass incarceration? Joe Biden. Invasion and occupation of Iraq. How many precious Iraqis killed? At least 500,000. Iraqi life has exactly the same value as a life anywhere else in the world, as a Palestinian life, a Jewish life, a Lithuanian life, an Ethiopian life, Mormon life, whatever.
Professor West, I wanted to go to one of your first campaign videos, which features a clip of an interview you did with podcaster Joe Rogan. Last year, Spotify faced a wave of calls to remove Rogan from its platform for promoting misinformation about COVID-19, but also after this video resurfaced showing Rogan using the N-word on his show 24 times. I just want to play a clip.
You know, saying the word. You've already said is just like saying she's calling you a like this boy that he's a but starts calling them.
You had people like India Are and others actually pull their music from Spotify. She would later put it back on and said she felt like she'd accomplished a lot in pointing out what he was doing, especially in using the N-word. Can you talk about why you featured him in your campaign ad?
Well, one is it's an attempt to show that we have to have a realignment, which means you have to be able to speak to people you have some deep disagreements with. And I mean, Brother Joe Rogan, he said a number of things that I have, deep disagreements with. I don't think that censorship, for the most part, is the proper or appropriate way. I really don't. I think that people must be free to express themselves, but you would hope that they would have respect for others, especially black folk, indigenous peoples, gay brothers, lesbian sisters, Jews, Muslims, Arabs, those who traditionally have been degraded.
He praised Rogan's latest special as a major artistic achievement and compared him to Pryor. Oh, no. Oh, no. Cornell. That's no good.
But I think it's very important that we have conversations across ideological and political lines, and therefore they're going to say sometimes some things that we have to call into question. We keep them accountable.
I mean, the whole thing about Rogan is I mean, it was silly when people were complaining about Bernie going on Rogan. It's regardless of what you think, Rogan's the most popular podcast host in the world, and he speaks to this big audience, and he had Cornel West on. We talked about him before, how fucking dumb he is, and obviously didn't like nothing that Cornel West said in the interview on Rogan penetrated Rogan's completely thick skull. But the idea that because Rogan has these reactionary views that it's not worthwhile to try and reach out to his audience, I find that's a little bit silly, or doing this kind of like tone policing thing like Amy's doing there. Sorry, Red Scary, what'd you say here? Pod. I meant to say oof, but my phone autocorrected to pod, and now I'm scared. And that's a good point too, Carrie Wave. I unironically think Joe Rogan should be censored for COVID misinfo, and that is true as well. It's been fucking amazing to see how pervasive that is across all platforms, like not just Joe Rogan, but just across mainstream media and culture as well. I don't want to be rude, but he seems like he's kind of in space a lot of the time now. I mean, sometimes I like it. Sometimes I enjoy it, One thing I also like about Cornel West, too, is the suit. He always wears the black suit that he says he wants to get buried in. So if he ever dies, he's in his nice suit. I like that idea. That's cool. Yeah, and we can point out to all kinds of really horrible things that Rogan does that I don't agree with. But I guess... I thought a lot of the discourse about Bernie going on Rogan just to reach out to this huge audience which any other member of the Democratic Party would have been bending over backwards to get an invite if they were interesting enough to get an invite on there. None of them actually were. They all, of course, Pete Buttigieg or Kamala Harris or Beto or whoever else would have fucking sprinted to Rogan's studio if they'd ever actually got invited onto his show. But because it was just Bernie, it got turned into this big like culture discourse thing about who he's normalizing, and that I find kind of stupid. But we can point out many, many horrible reactionary opinions and things that Rogan promotes. I completely agree. But I think some of these kinds of like accusations are motivated not by some kind of purity or someone wanting to like address these reactionary things, but are purely political as well. He was even weirder on Russell Brand. Maybe we should have started with that.
I'm glad that the great Indian Ari did that. That's a beautiful thing.
Getting blazed with Rogan would have been a banger.
As well, to keep him accountable.
Or Biden, yeah. Rogan having Biden on. That would be very entertaining.
I'm suspicious of this censorship because usually the censorship in the end zeroes in on freedom fighters, love warriors, the wounded healers. You think of the great Paul Robeson, you think of Claudia Jones, you think W.B. Du Bois, you think of Luisa Moreno, who I'd mentioned, one of the greatest of the Latino freedom fighters in the last 150 years, who was deported to Guatemala because she supposedly had communist associations.
He gets zooted with Rogan and just drops a bunch of declassified intel. Cornell, you're talking about who
was deported to Guatemala. Freedom fighters, in the last 150 years, who was deported to Guatemala because she supposedly had communist associations.
Well, don't you agree with that, Cornell? You were talking about brother Reagan's noble quest against the evil communists just a couple years ago. So why don't you support that? Dr. West going, I agree that he should go appear on the Adam Friedland show. I absolutely agree, and I hope that he does.
And so forth. So that kind of censorship is something that I'm very, very suspicious of. I've got deep libertarian sensibilities in that regard.
India Ari also said she's against cancel culture and ultimately went back on Spotify.
I will try to get Cornel West to come on this show. I don't care. I'll try. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I'll give it a shot though. Maybe I can try and make Cornel West a dialectical materialist.
That's right.
So, Democracy Now!, we ask very critical questions. I also want to read from a New Republic article about your candidacy and about the People's Party. The article states, quote,
this should be
while
interesting.
The party began in 2017 with noble roots to form a new political party independent from corporate money and influence, it's...
Old Dutch, I can't either, honestly. But, it would, I imagine it would probably be enjoyable for some. It would be enjoyable for some, not for me personally, but for some.
It's been mired in troubling allegations as well as broader organizational dysfunction, numerous sources of corroborated sexual harassment allegations against party founder Nick Brana. Last year, former party member Paula Jean Swearingen said she'd witnessed Brana try to force himself onto former party executive director Anna Day, who confirmed the allegations herself. Numerous party board members were apparently forced out for encouraging investigations into the allegations and questioning whether Brana was still fit to lead the party, unquote. Brana has also praised the prominent anti-vaxxer Robert Kennedy Jr., who's also running for president, but as a Democrat. He described Kennedy as a, quote, courageous leader whose environmental and vaccine advocacy has illuminated issues that few dare to confront. So he's the founder of the party that you're running with, the People's Party. Talk about why you chose the People's Party, and if you
want to talk about, you don't know what Come Town is, it's a podcast where a couple comedians hang out and like talk about bullshit. I mean, that's all it is. Sometimes it can be kind of funny, It's just some silly guys. That's all. That's all it is. Which it doesn't exist anymore. Now it's just the Adam Friedland show, in my understanding.
you would like to respond to those allegations. And also the bigger point of why you didn't choose, for example, if you wanted to be outside the race, the Green Party, which has more ballot access. But that's a lot there, Cornell.
Yeah, no, indeed. And I appreciate that question too, my dear sister. I mean, I have a great love.
And one of those guys thinks, who's Moldbug? I don't even know who that is. I don't know. I really don't pay attention to anything that's going on with that universe. I really don't. I was forced to pay attention to it because of the whole like Matt Healy, Taylor Swift thing. And that was like the most that I've paid attention to it in years. Anyway, let's see. I'm interested to hear what he talks about the People's Party here. Because this, like I've been saying, I think this is like the huge stumble right out of the gate. The fact that he's associated with these reactionaries and grifters.
For ballot access, but that's a lot there, Cornell.
Yeah, no, indeed. And I appreciate that question too, my dear sister. I mean, I have a great love for my Green Party brothers and sisters. I've worked twice with them, and so I have nothing against their third party operations. It would be nice if we had even a coming together, but that's something that is for a different show. But in terms of the history of the People's Party, you know, I was there at the founding. There's no doubt about that. And I've been a kind of honorary member of the board, even though I haven't participated, so I haven't followed all of the insides and outsides of what has happened. It strikes me that there's been some very bad and ugly moments. There's no doubt about that, but I don't want to adjudicate as to who actually is guilty or who's actually innocent, because I just don't know. But there has to be accountability, and especially when it comes to sexual harassment in terms of sisters of any color, those are very, very important
Honorary board, but never followed. Great.
Very serious charges in that regard.
Maybe you should check what's going on with that.
For me, I wanted to be able to bring a serious critique to bear on the corporate duopoly.
Yeah, you don't need the People's Party to do that.
The People's Party.
I know nothing about the party that I'm representing. Like, there's no reason for him to be involved in this whatsoever. They bring nothing to the table. They've never fielded a candidate. They've got no constituency. We're talking about maybe, generously, a couple thousand extremely online, like Jimmy Dore weirdos. That's what they're bringing to the table. Like, they literally are adding nothing to the equation. It's not even a party. You know, it's just there's no reason to be affiliated with this in any way. Needed that LaRouche funding for sure. Yeah, it's not even a party. It's more of this publicity stunt. Like they said, we've been talking about this. They've said, oh yeah, we need to raise all this money so we can field candidates, which they have never done. They have never done. Yeah, you should join forces with Haz and Malpan. That's right. You can switch. You can join the Center for Political Innovation. That would be good. Yeah, it's actively detrimental for sure. Like, I would be probably, even though we've pointed out a lot of the big problems that he has as a candidate or as like a left-wing thinker as well, I would be way more supportive if he wasn't affiliated with this right out of the gate. You know, the only thing that accomplishes is bad publicity for Dr. West. I think he's getting taken advantage of and super naive with extremely online stuff. I think that's a good way of looking at it, Husker, for sure. He doesn't even know. Like, she's asking him about it. He barely has any fucking understanding of what's been going on. You know? It's weird. They have a whisper of ballot access. That's right. Chad, I've decided to take a position working as campaign staff for the Poop in Our Own Mouths party. I have absolutely no idea what their platform is. I'm grateful for the opportunity. That's right. Don't ask all the kind of weird things you may have heard about this. I have no idea about it. I have no idea. It seems like that's something we can adjudicate that another time. How big is PSL? That's a good question. I mean, I'm kind of interested in that. I don't know if they actually run candidates. Like, are they a party in that sense? I'm not really sure. It seems more like a vehicle for like social movements and organizing than an actual party. They do run candidates? Okay. Oh, yeah, no, I do remember they ran a candidate in 2020. Yeah, Gloria. Yeah, of course. I do. I just remembered that. That's right. I mean, it would be way cooler if he was affiliated with that. But again, he's as much as he's talked about like democratic socialism, he's also kind of explicitly anti-Marxist in his own words, and thus would not apparently want to be affiliated with that party, even though that would be give him way more credibility than being affiliated with this scammy, grifty People's Party does.
In its inception and in its vision is a populist one. So you got a number of different voices, heterogeneous. It is very loose. A lot of people say, well, is it an organization at all? I mean, it does anything hold it together? And so
I am asking that.
Well, we shall see.
Cordell, come on. Come on now. Really? Really? We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if you thought this through, sir. I don't know. We'll just jazz our way through it. Oh, yeah, that's... I don't know, lol. Yeah, that's what it is. That's all he's got. It's my favorite answer of all time. What even is a party? You'll do the Jordan Peterson thing. What do you mean by party? What do you mean by organization? What do you mean by scam? Running for president is all about the notes you don't play. Thank you. Oh, man. That was pretty good. We shall see, he says. Like, maybe we should have seen prior to this rather than after. I don't know.
Those are very important questions. I don't want to act as if that they aren't serious challenges. But I think that...
he doesn't, like, that's the thing. He doesn't know. He doesn't know, like, what Husker was just saying. Like, he just doesn't... He's not been paying attention to this shit. He's really not plugged into these things that have been going on with this party that he's affiliated himself with. He doesn't seem to really have any idea about any of this stuff. Which is probably not great.
Deliver in such a way that we are treating each and every...
I think he does just like the name. I think it's as simple as that.
And poor people of any color with great respect in this campaign. If we can raise voices to shape the discourse and dialogue in this campaign, if we can not just bring pressure to bear, but begin to point out that the choice between the neo-fascist brother Trump, criminal in so many ways, and the milquetoast Biden, who's so tied into corporate wealth and corporate power, they can have austerity in the recent debt ceiling agreement and still allow the military expansion, that we might be able to go much further than a lot of people think. But that history, has to be wrestled with. I don't want to downplay that at all. I just hope that we really do keep the focus, though, on what can be done at this particular moment, not to erase the history, but to make sure that as we make history in this moment, that we are doing all and everything we can.
So, Cornel West, what would you do?
Poor people and working people are at the center.
And what would you do about
what if he thinks it's the poor people's campaign and got
confused? About reproductive rights right now in this country.
Play him off, Amy.
And about this.
Props for working milquetoast into the interview. Yeah, and a lot of the time, his critique is good. His critique of the Democratic Party establishment, their militarism, as he puts it, the milquetoast neoliberalism. I mean, that's why I think that this voice is actually kind of important to be part of this. But huge own goal immediately out of the gate by being affiliated with this party that he evidently knows nothing about. which is not bringing anything to the table. Like if anything, he's giving them credibility rather than the actual party bringing anything to him or his campaign.
Credible threat to the country, the greatest domestic violence threat, which is white supremacy. You were at the Unite the Right rally in Virginia, not participating in it, but there when you saw the neo-Nazis march threatening you.
I'm wondering if he thinks that we can reach out to those people that were at the Unite the Right rally by talking about how they were left behind by neoliberalism.
Absolutely. I mean, Brother Martin used to say that the bombs that we drop abroad land at home. The militarism around the world comes back to haunt us, and we've got police departments that are militarized. You have to break the back of the culture of silence of the police departments that think they can get away with mistreating, brutalizing, sometimes murdering fellow citizens. And as you know, those fellow citizens are disproportionately black.
Yeah, I'd agree
and
with
brown,
that,
but it
Sam.
includes all colors in terms of police murders every year that the Washington Post and other newspapers keep track of. But you've got to, as a president, you've got to use whatever charisma, whatever language, whatever eloquence you can to try to ensure that you set an atmosphere such that mechanisms of accountability, not just in police departments, but at the workplace. We need workers' control that Rick Wolf and others have talked about, not just at the workplace, but in our cultural life. The organized greed has been on steroids, commodify everything for sale, everybody's for sale. That must be radically called into question. And as a leader, you call for spiritual awakening, moral reckoning, and try to, in some sense, exemplify that, not just in your policies, you see, but in your tone,
Cornell,
in your
we
temper,
have 10 seconds.
in your vision.
Well, I want to thank you so much.
But immigration, though, you got to treat each immigrant with dignity. Oh, that's the beginning part, but I know we got a longer discussion on that.
Dr. Cornell West has just announced he's running for president with the People's Party. Philosopher, author, critic, actor, civil rights activist, and professor of philosophy and Christian practice at Union Theological Seminary.
I believe
In less than 12 hours, the machines will breach the dock walls. Every simulation we've run, we've seen that
he
once
would be
machines
the
are
only
inside
actor
the
from the
city,
Matrix
odds of our
franchise to ever run for president,
decrease
though.
dramatically. Thus, our primary objective must be to destroy or disable the diggers inside the dock. If we can do that, perhaps we can prevent them from
We can defeat the machines with radical love.
The only place we will be able to mount an effective defense will be at the entrance of the temple. It is small enough that it will force them into a bottleneck, allowing us to concentrate the remainder of our defense.
We understand that you've requested additional volunteers.
That is correct.
Precisely what size force are you planning to commit to the primary dock objective?
Right now, the
There's his
entire
voice.
APU Corps and half the infantry.
Half the infantry?
If you're up to me, Counselor, I take every man, woman, and child, put a gun in their hand, and march them straight into that dock.
Perhaps it is best that it is not up to you.
Time will tell, Counselor.
Scared, child. Shit, yeah. But I'll make you a deal.
Weirdly, I don't think I've ever seen. No, it's not that I don't think I haven't seen the new Matrix movie. I have not seen. I love this franchise so much, and I have never seen the fourth Matrix movie. I think it's time to rehab the Matrix sequels. Frankly, the Matrix, the original, obviously, it's kind of a perfect movie. The sequels are not as good. I think the sequels are good though. The Matrix Reloaded and the Matrix Revolutions, I think they're pretty good. They got problems. They got mistakes. I enjoy both of them, though. I think it's about time we give those another look, now that 20 years have passed. It's weird. We got more opinions now. Now we're getting really spicy. I'm trying to find the scene. Like I don't like. He has more of a. He has more of a moment. I don't know if it's on YouTube though. The Matrix walks so Dark City could run. I love. Fuck. I'm here. I am again. Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I over here? I love Dark City. That's another one that's got to be in the TRRS movie night. Dark City fucking rocks. Full screen rib. What is this though? I have this like error message. What is even going on with that? Maybe I should go back to the full screen sometime. I like this though. I can see the chat. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I like the Cinnamon Challenge likes the Big Rob. Well, maybe we can get back there. Maybe we can get back there. I need to put something here behind the chat so you can I can see you. Live from the extreme. Folks, I should remind you, we're going on 2.5 hours into this stream, but just take a moment to briefly mention that if you enjoy the work that I do here on twitch.tv/Rob Rousseau, and you like the community, and you like being part of the community, and you like watching this program, and you want to support the commentary and analysis and interviews that I do over here on TRRS every single day, please, if you can, subscribe. Subscribe to TRRS. Not only do you support this program and ensure that it stays on the air, you also join an extremely cool and exciting and dynamic community. Life-changing. Many people can testify to this. Get access to some of the very best emotes on the entire platform of Twitch. Because if it's not about supporting me or joining the community, you do get tiny little images as well.
The friendship triangle.
You do get tiny little images as well. Red Scary, thank you so much. Gemini season in full effect. Thank you, Red Scary, for the 5 gifted subs. That's very kind of you, Red Scary. I really appreciate that a lot. Thank you for that. Gemini solidarity. And I would genuinely love to come hang out. It's like, if you're going to be in Canada, but it's a big country. In Toronto, very far away. So thank you, Red Scary, for that. And if anyone else would like to support this program, again, please subscribe to TRRS. Not only do you support the show, not only do you join the community, you also get those tiny little images.
You've just become an elite member of the friendship triangle.
Gen X Bushy, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs as well. Thank you so much for all the support, Gen X Bushy. Don't you love getting those tiny little images? We love our tiny little images, don't we, folks? The tiny... this is what my job is. Again, I'm a 40-year-old man. Some of my job is I sell tiny little images for Twitch chat. That's what I do. That's what I do day in, day out on here. Is it your birthday too this month, Gen X Bushy? You're also Gemini supremacy. We love those tiny little images, folks. Some of the best tiny little images. Some of the best tiny little images we've got. I still can't do a good Trump impression. I can't. I just can't do it. It's so bad. My Trump impression is just so bad. My birthday coming up next week. So many lovely TRRS Geminis. Hell yeah. Sophisticated pills. Hell yeah. Bolden's in June as well. So do any other takers? Are there any other takers? Does anyone else want to support TRRS with a $5 tier 1 sub? Very cheap. Completely free of charge. completely free of charge with your Amazon Prime account. Very easy to convert that into a Twitch Prime sub and subscribe completely free of charge. Every little bit, very, very helpful. It all helps to keep this content on the air. And I would just be absolutely nowhere were it not for the support of the very, very, very generous members of this community. Do you have any other takers who want to support the work that I do here and join this community and get a whole bunch of really cool, tiny little images? What do we think? We're approaching the goal. We're approaching. Only if I can join your new emo synth band named Tiny Images. It's a pretty good band name. It's a good EP name, Weenus. And you can join the my emo synth band. You can. The Tiny Little Images EP. We love our tiny little images.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, 2023. More like 1984. Thanks, 2 months. Resub at tier 2. Thank you, 2023. We love it. Thank you. Stu posted in Discord, oh, I did see the thing about Polyev is doing a filibuster. I'm sure that's going to be really engaging. That's going to be really engaging stuff. You know what? Hearing Pierre Polyev talk for like 5 minutes at a time is not enough. Yeah, exactly. Some of the tier 2 tiny images and tier 3 tiny images are even better. But often, though, when I hear Pierre Polyev talk, I'm like, I wish I could just hear this guy talk for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours. Give me more. Give me more of this. This fucking charisma magnet. He's just so engaging and interesting to listen to. I want to hear even more of this, so I'm looking forward to that, definitely. We should really do live coverage. I think as long as Pierre is filibustering, I should be streaming. I should be live. We should be paying attention if he's going to be out there fighting for our values like this against the true dope. Justin True Dope. Such a commanding presence. That's right. Thank you. Born just a leader of men. Exactly. That's what I think every time I see this guy. Every time I see this guy. Let's see if I can find. I was just looking on YouTube to see if I can find the announcement. Oh yeah, I see the people as well talking about climate lockdowns as well. So good. All the same fucking whining babies. We're not even going to be able to do anything about the wildfires, encouraging people to wear N95s, which really help filter out the particulate matter. These people are going to fill their fucking diapers. Bitcoin lets you escape inflation, for sure. He was promoting this like a year ago, immediately before the massive collapse of the crypto markets, crypto exchanges. Folks, do we have any other takers? Do we have any other takers? Do any more kind and generous community members want to support this program? We're 28 on 35. Just a few, one or two extremely generous chatters could get TRRS across the finish line today.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The funny thing about the anonymous gift subs as well is that it doesn't do the bundle.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to
anonymous
talk you
gifter,
through
our
all
most
this.
Christ-like gifters. I often say this. Our most Christ-like sub-gifters.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
We need to smoke some more chatters out of the woodworks. There we go.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old
There we
Rob
go.
to talk you through all this.
Oh my. Thank you so much to whoever the anonymous angel was.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to
The anonymous
talk you through all
angel
this.
investor. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Very, very much appreciated and very, very kind of you. Thank you. Back from making my dinner, and also I heard your Trump impression. It made me turn my head while I was cooking. In a good way or a bad way? It felt bad in the moment. It felt very bad in the moment. I need to work on it. This guy's probably going to be president again. I need to have a passable Trump impression. I had 4 whole years to figure it out, and I couldn't do it.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Happy B-Day red_scary. Here's my gift to Rob. Also, June is also the birth month of our capital reading.
That's true. Thank you, Bolden. Thank you so much, Bolden, for the 400 friend coin. I will accept the birthday gift from Red Scary on her behalf. She says thank you as well for that. James Adamian is yet to be topped. He's the only one who gets how nasal Trump is. I really do still like James Austin Johnson. I was really happy when he came on the Insurgents podcast that time before he became like a fucking SNL guy. They call him Scooby, but he doesn't do. Why don't they call the show Velma? Why don't they call the show Velma? We're starting June 22nd. That's when the Capitol reading is going on. Making the event tonight.
You
Okay,
can
it's
count
good
on
to
me.
know.
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Anonymous gifter, thank you very much for another gifted sub for Justin Trudeau. 420 Blaze It. Really one of the only positive contributions that he has made was legalizing marijuana. One of the only campaign promises that he actually followed through on. Slub to grog. Are there still people in this chat who thinks that says good old grog? You know what? Why, Rob? That's my name. You know that. You know that that's my name. Why would the alert be good old grog to talk you through all this? I'm afraid I just don't see it. I'm afraid I just don't get it. Cousin Grog. The Grog Rousseau Show. I don't think that. I know that's what it says, but it's not. It doesn't. It doesn't say that. Why would I say that? Why would I say you can count on you can count on me? That's what it says. That's what it says. You can count on me. You're going to have good old grog to talk you through all this. Really? Really? Your name isn't Grog. No, it is not. Grog Rousseau, CEO of Grog Star Grog Co. Jesus. Come on, folks. We got to do better. We got to do better here. But I didn't come up with it. I said good old Rob. You said you can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this because that's what my name is, you know? Right? My whole family is counting on you. Well, good. I won't let you down. I won't let you or your family down. This is my promise to you. This is my promise to you. Folks, I'm one sub away. I'm one sub away. And I gotta ask you a question. Wouldn't you want to see the sub goal reached by this guy?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this. You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you very much, Narrator 9000, for the gifted sub. And thank you, Miguel at 69 for the gifted sub as well. I very much appreciate that from both of you. Thank you. Thank you for that. We did it. Thank you, chat. Thank you, folks. Yeah, I've got to put up the counter by myself. Now it went up. The statement is crazy on audio only. I imagine it's unpleasant for people on audio only, and frankly, people that are on video. It's uncomfortable for everybody.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Thank you, Soviet Sasha, for the 100 friend coin as well. If we do get a hype train going, I'm not going to push it too hard because we are over the sub goal, so I'm not going to crack the whip too much. Even though if people do want to still support the show and do want to do the hype train thing, that is also fine as well. That is also fine as well if you do want to do that. Is Chris Angel the correct spelling for that magician? It's the only place I can ask now that Yahoo Answers is gone. I believe so. I'm not going to suggest that I'm kind of a big Chris Angel head or anything like that. I believe that's how it's spelled, though. Oh, it's CRISS. Is that true? We got some controversy here. We got some controversy. Apparently I was mistaken. The mind freak himself. That's right. I should start doing Chris Angel mind freak style. That could like actual style, you know? With the jewelry and the wristbands or whatever it is. This clothes. I think I could pull that off. This is great. Some good old-fashioned irony. Yes, we do. The ironing is beautiful. There we go. Don't worry, folks. Don't worry, folks. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay because June 7th, 2023, today, Clean Air Day. This is a day to recognize how important good air quality is to our health, our environment, and the economy. It was first celebrated in 1999 when Canada declared Clean Air Day an annual celebration during Canadian Environment Week. Air pollution knows no boundaries. It can affect every area of Canada, including urban and rural areas. That's why this year's theme is Clean Air Everywhere. Wonderful. Wonderful. We did it, Joe. We did it. And we did it through voting. Let's be clear about this. I'm feeling sad and doomer today. Well, I feel sad and doomer every day, Diego, but you know what? That's why I like coming on here and talking with all you folks. Because you know what? Even though materially I leave the same person as I start out every day, I do just enjoy it. I genuinely do enjoy talking about these things and indeed talking you through all this. And sometimes, in some cases, having you, the chat, talk me through it. I like it. Okay? And it makes me feel better. People are really liking my market solution to the forest fires in your comments, so no need to lose hope yet. Good. The market will bail us out of this. The market's going to bail us out. Is this how we will tell time in the future? Yeah. It was around AQI 142. I can't see the sun anymore except this red orb of death. Yeah, good. Very nice. How are you doing over there? Honestly, right now, Young Mantic in Montreal, it's not so bad. Despite being in Quebec, like we were looking at the cloud before, it kind of like curves around Montreal and then goes to decimate the east coast of the United States. So it has been quite apocalyptic and smoky smelling in Montreal the last couple of days, but right now, generally, it's not quite as bad. I'm not counting on it to last like that. I'm not counting on it to continue on like that. And I imagine it's going to get pretty bad at points this summer, but can't go inside because of noxious fumes. Can't go outside because of noxious fumes. Can't go inside because of plague. That's why you just need to get your Apple Vision Pro or your whatever it is, Meta helmet or Oculus helmet. We don't need to go outside or inside anymore. We can just sit. You can plug up your nose holes, throw on your face mask, and go to the metaverse. Hey, Crad Babes, thanks for coming back. I'm happy to see you in the chat again. It's been a while. It's our friend Crad Babes. The long-awaited return. It's kind of exciting, actually. Is there a toilet in Metaverse? No, you just get special Metaverse diapers to wear while you're on there. We call Rob Grog now, FYI. That's not actually true. That is not true. I want my Metaverse diaper to have stars on it. That's how you know that you're really cool. The new Apple diaper starting at just $3.99. Exactly.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
It does not sound like that. It doesn't. Thank you very much, Diego, for the gifted sub to Crad Babes. Thank you. I heard there was a collective groan when people heard the 3500. Oh yeah, for sure. What it was Alex Peter said it sounded like the Wii Sports crowd sound. And it actually really does. Let me see if I can find it. Just scrolling. Yeah, here we go. This is so funny.
Vision Pro.
Listen to the crowd sound. Is this good? I'm not a big business guy. Is this good though? Do you want this?
Apple Vision Pro starts at $34.99. It will be available early next year on Apple.com and at Apple retail stores in the U.S. with Apple Vision Pro.
I work in audio, have exceptionally good hearing. It says grog. Jesus Christ. Jesus. It really doesn't. It really does not. It did kind of sound like Mark Zuckerberg, but that doesn't make a lot of sense that it would be, does it? I think I'm going to say goodbye. Can't wait to wear this all day, every day. That's right. And that's why we want to escape from the toxic wildfire clouds, out of control plague, social unrest, your home just falling into the ocean. Whatever it is, you don't have to live in the real world anymore. Now we can all escape. We can all escape with our $4,000 headsets. Also watch videos of our loved ones lost to the apocalypse. God, that's so grim. That's so grim. What do you mean, Crowd Babes? You've been actually joining a revolutionary party? And now, you think now you don't think Twitch is good enough to change the world? Wow. I see how it goes, Crowd Babes. Actually taking care of family members in real life and joining radical political organizations? You think you're better than me? I'm just joking. I'm not going to give you a hard time after you've returned to the stream after like months. I'm not going to be mean about it. Thank you for hosting the chat and sharing, and to the person who brought me a sub. Well, it was my pleasure, Re300. I hope you come back. And if you're new to the community, that's not how it's spelled. That's not how that's spelled. If you're new to the community, and you're just subbing for the first time, or if you're a lurker or haven't watched for the first time, let me start over. If you're new to the community, or you're a lurker, or you're just tuning in for the first time, please subscribe not only to the channel, but join the Discord server as well. Join the Discord server as well. Always great to have more folks in there. We have a really great time. We got movie nights going on. We got reading groups, book clubs, great takes, awesome people. We're watching Scanners tonight. David Cronenberg's classic Scanners in the TRRS Discord server this evening. I may or may not be there, not totally sure. I actually do really want to watch the movie, but it's also Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and I do want to watch that as well. So we will see. We will see. Although I do want to watch Scanners, I must admit. You forgot where the Discord is. I'm in the Discord every day, usually. Just, it's become so, there's so many channels and different things going on now that it intimidates and frightens me, that's all. I just mostly post in the TRRS channel, because that's like my special little place. That's my special little place for a special big guy. Okay? Alright, who are we rating here? I guess David Tavares. David's really I like David. He's really in the right place at the right time for some of these raids here. You gotta hand it to him. Of course, the communist would like a channel where no one can question him. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Crad Babes. I knew you would understand. That's fine. I posted the Finance Sickos channel, which is my special little place. That's the beauty of it. We all have our own little special places in there. Thank you, Grog. We're not turning this into a meme. Come on. People already call me all kinds of different things. Rib. People call me Rib. You're gonna start calling me Grog now as well? You know what hurts the most? It's the lack of respect. Srog to Grog. What is this? What is this? I'm way too old to be talking like this. This is fucking outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I'm a man. I'm 40. Or the Will Ferrell thing. I drive a Dodge Stratus.